What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about two of your favorite cryptos in this video, Stellar Lumens and Hedera Hashgraph HBAR. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. We're going to talk about Stellar first, XLM first, and then we will get into HBAR afterwards. Okay, so here we are. It is the 24th day of October, and here we are with 7 hours, 51 minutes left in the day, sitting at 31.3 cents right now. Had a little bit of a move up to 32.37 cents and all the way back down today. A little volatility. Never hurt anybody, and it's okay, right? Maybe this is just another lower high. We've got lower lows coming. Perhaps we are coming down to this area, and that's fine. By the way, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I do believe this is the low. However, if we go below that low, it's fine. It's not a problem. Everything is going to be okay, all right? If we're looking at this here on the 1 hour time frame, 31.39 cents right now. The 1 hour is slipping. We can definitely see that it's slipping right now. That was my 3-year-old, if you guys heard that. The RSI looks bullish, to be completely fair. So even though the price is slipping, I think that's okay. We are kind of in a trend within itself right here. The 1 hour time frame is at the base of this area, so it might be a good area to find support. Looking at the 1 hour RSI, we do have lower lows here in the RSI, lower lows in the price as well. But we're at an area where I think we've found support before, especially recently speaking. I think it would make sense to find support here. If not, we could go lower, and we'll get into that, I'm sure, as the video develops. But just looking at this here, I'm looking at this as a point to find support, maybe a little bit lower. Stochastics would suggest that we go a little bit lower. Fresh cross on the 1 hour MACD might suggest that we go a little bit lower as well. 50 minutes left, though, in this 1 hour candle. Oh, we're playing with fire here, aren't we? From a low to a high. The expectation might be, I mean, we could bounce here. It would be odd to bounce here. I'm just going to say it. I think it would be odd to bounce here. It would make the most sense to go down, probably down to 31 cent or just below 31 cent. Find support there and then move up. That's the expectation, okay? If not, at your best kind of case scenario, you'd find support at 31.3 cents, but you probably don't. You probably go down to 31 cent, just below there, and then start to move up, start to recover, right? As soon as you break this structure, as soon as you break this higher low kind of trend, then you'll find support and then you'll move up higher. That's the thought, at least, that I'm running with right now. The MACD, again, overall actually is bullish. The RSI overall is bullish, and the stochastics even overall are bullish, but you might move down a little bit more on each of these indicators on the price itself, and you're still bullish. So it's okay. Come down a little bit, it's fine. 4 hour time frame here. Certainly not expecting that we go any lower, right? I don't think we're going below this low, let alone this low. This is a bit of an intimidating candle to make that claim on, but we'll see. Let's look at the 4 hour time frame here. Overall, a very bearish RSI, to be fair. But if we look here, you've been finding support, higher lows. You've been finding resistance, higher highs. You've got a nice parallel channel like a lot of cryptos do right now. And though you could come lower, yes, you likely do continue to press on to the overbought zone without breaking down to like, what is that? Without breaking down to the oversold areas or any kind of bearish area of control. Looking at this here on the 4 hour, the RSI is definitely productive. It makes me think that we have higher to go. I'm not intimidated by this candle, though it is intimidating as far as appearances go. 3 hours, 48 minutes left in this 4 hour candle. Let's see if we can't come down and then come back up all in the same candle. That'd be nice. Stochastics are bullish still, even with this rejection off the overbought zone, still bullish. And the MACD, bearish overall, but you were really close to being bullish here, man. I mean, you crossed barely above the zero, found resistance, but your rejection is not quite rejecting here. You're coming back up. I would think this second attempt in a very short amount of time back at the zero would lead to a breakthrough. And the last time that you broke through, I mean, the last time was over here. You had a nice little growth, from a relative low when you were above the zero to where you topped off at. You saw about a 15% move in what was like 2 or 3 days. So that could be happening here, if not larger, something larger. Overall, I'm getting a good vibe off of the 4 hour time frame there. But again, the same kind of idea as the 1 hour. You're bullish. You've got a lot of bullish prospects here. But you could still come down and remain bullish, right? So even if we go lower from here, from 31.39 cents, it's not a problem. We could go as low as 31 cents and even just below there and still be fine. Daily time frame. Looking at the daily time frame, I think it's very obvious that we have a downtrend, right? We've got lower lows here. We've got lower highs here. I think it's very obvious that we're in some kind of channel downwards. We're at the base of this channel, okay? We're likely going to move up higher, and then on this next attempt, we're looking to break out and see some overall continuation to new all-time highs. The daily time frame, looking at the RSI, is positive. I mean, overall, it's pretty neutral with a bearish lean here, but the fact that you're getting overbought, you're really afraid of being oversold. I think that stands, that says something. That's a testament of strength there. I don't like that we're rejecting the 40, but man, for hitting the oversold zone, rejecting the 40 twice, you're having negative things and you're not having any consequences for it. That's nice to see. Typically, that makes me think that we will move up higher. But 7 hours, 46 minutes left in the day. Let's see, if this day closes green, that'd be a good look on the RSI. If it closes red, maybe we do come down here. Maybe the 4 hour and the 1 hour are misleading me. But I don't think that we're going to close red today. I think we will close green. So I'm assuming this wick, as intimidating as it is, will get given back. We will move up higher into the end of the day. And we do have bullish divergence on the daily MACD as well. So overall, expecting big things out of Stellar here. Looking at XLM, we're thinking that we're going to pursue higher prices any day, any week now. Going into the end of this year, we should be seeing prices that are all the way up at $1.54 at a minimum, if not something that's as high as $3.55 at a maximum. My bet is that by the end of the year, Stellar Lumens will be worth about anything from like 220 to 250, somewhere in that range. We'll pursue higher prices going into next year, 2026. We should be seeing prices all the way up at anything from $6.80 at a bare minimum to $20 at a potential maximum, right? Something like that. Anything and everything in between is fair game as well. We could stop at $10. That's a nice psychological level of resistance as well, and it's common enough to stop just above the 200 level, so we really could go just above it here. But anything from, let's even round it up. Let's say $7 to $20 is, I think, an acceptable outcome by the end of the cycle. That's it for Stellar Lumens. Let's move on to HBAR. We're going to talk about Hedera now. Okay, hit the like button, subscribe if you're on your way out. Thank you for staying if you're staying here and you're watching this next part. Still, though, hit that like button. Here we are, Hedera. Looking at this on the all-time history chart. Let's actually zoom way in. I know we're on the weekly time frame now, but let's zoom way in. Let's do the same thing that we did for Stellar, but on the 1 hour time frame here for HBAR. Looking at this here, overall, I actually like what you're doing. I really do like what you're doing. This looks like an M pattern here, right? And it's a failed M pattern. You didn't actually get down to the low. It was a failed M pattern, which is bullish. That's actually a really good thing. So good job. Looking at this here from a low to a high, not the fake out high. Low to high, measuring this move, not the fake out high. You had double, triple bottom, whatever, at the golden ratio zone. Perfect. What I like about this is we've already been up in this area. Typically, you go golden ratio, this zone, and then you go lower. But we didn't do that, right? We went golden ratio, this zone, and then we held our ground. We actually found higher lows, and now we're moving higher. We got higher highs too. So I think it'd be awesome to find support here. If not, we can probably count on that golden ratio providing support again, and probably not the zone, but more strictly the line this time, right there at about 16.5 cents, maybe 16.4 cents. We're at 16.7 cents now, so the differences are just very, very small. It's completely possible that we find support here, prior resistance right here, prior resistance right here, prior support right here, prior support back here, resistance back here, right? Pretty significant throughout this range right now. So I think that's suitable for a low right here. Looking at the 1 hour time frame, looking at the RSI, we did reject the overbought zone, which is not a good look, but higher lows, higher highs, that is a good look. The way that I drew that line, I think, is a little deceitful. Let's put a better line on here. Something like this, where we could come down lower. Again, we could see lower prices from here. We don't have to bounce right here, but even if we do, we still maintain our positive structure so long as we don't see anything too dramatic happening. From 16.7 cents down to 16.5 or 16.45, it's really not that dramatic. Stochastics, the 1 hour stochastics. Oops. Let's see. Switch all that around, damn. They do make me bearish. Right? Like typically you don't find support here. It doesn't mean that you can't, but typically you don't, right? We've got one example here where it worked out well. But typically if you get overbought and you find support here, you do get oversold, right? If you're, let's say you're overbought, where's another example? Overbought, you found support here, you get oversold before you return to the overbought zone. The odds of us finding support here and continuing are actually kind of low, so maybe it wouldn't be a problem at all if we did come down over the next few hours, or if we just stayed in this area and let the stochastics come down. But it is possible, and it's the 1 hour time frame. The stochastics are a little bit less reliable, so we could find support here and move up higher. I would just think it would more likely result in something like this, rather than it would result in something like this. But we'll see. Time will tell. You never know. The MACD to counter that is actually in a positive position, but again, the 1 hour time frame, it kind of matters less. You just crossed red, but you just crossed above the zero. Moments like this are kind of like a break, right? Like here, you're in a bearish trend. You crossed green oh so barely right there, but you still kept going lower. This moment might just be, you crossed red, but you're going higher still. It's like a false red signal. That's my opinion, especially on the 1 hour time frame. That's a lot more common. But that would suggest we are moving higher. The MACD being above the zero, the oscillator's trending up like this, it looks good. Stochastics overall are bullish, even though right now you kind of have a bearish presence about you. And same thing with the RSI, very bullish right now. You have more of a bearish presence about you right now, but you do have these higher lows and higher highs, which I think will prevail and take you into the overbought zone and take you higher. Looking at the 4 hour time frame here, zooming out a little bit, looking at the MACD, we are about to cross above the zero. You interacted with the zero, found resistance there, but the rejection is not rejecting. You look like you want to move higher. This next move above the zero should coincide with a nice bit of growth. Whenever we moved up here, whenever we crossed above the zero, we went from a relative low to a relative high. It's about a 9% move. Wasn't too significant. I would expect that the next move, whenever we cross above the zero, is going to be a lot more significant than that. We'll probably see something that's more correlated to a movement like this, or even more bullish than this. But that's a 20% move overall. I could see that happening. But I very much do expect, a cross above the zero here on the MACD should signal that not only are we done going lower, but that we're ready to resume moving higher as well, probably breaking out of this overall zone as a whole with the break of that there. Looking at the stochastics on the 4 hour, kind of similar to the 1 hour, but on a totally opposite effect, right? You don't really expect to find substantial resistance here, though we have before. But typically, again, if you're coming from the oversold zone, coming here, you would actually get to the overbought zone first. You wouldn't come up and then come back down, though that does happen. It's not that it can't happen. It's not that you can't reject here. But typically, you get a little bit more than this. So 1 hour time frames looking opposite. Maybe over the coming hours, we move down. But then over the coming days, over these 4 hour periods, we move up. That's, I guess, what I'm getting here, a little bit of volatility, but not much, right? We're probably not much volatility to the downside. We're going to get more, I think, to the upside. That was my daughter closing her door. The 4 hour time frame here on the RSI speaks kind of differently. It says that we've got a higher low here. Similar to the 1 hour time frame, we've got higher lows and higher highs, looking very bullish. Again, it's not that we're saying we're going to go down or that we are going to go up. What it's saying is that we're in a trend. We have a lot of room to go up if we want to go up. And if we want to go down, we don't really have that much room. So odds are, if we move down from here, and it's looking like we might move down a little bit, if we move down from here, it's not going to be too much. And if we move up from here, it's going to be a lot more. And we're likely to break out of this kind of trend. I wouldn't be surprised if we did break out of this trend here soon, maybe today or tomorrow would be the expectation. But by the time you guys watch this, just based on the 1 hour, we could see a little bit of downside, and that's okay. Maybe a couple hours of downside. We got a 3 hour, 38-minute time frame left in this 4 hour candle. Maybe with that last hour, hour and a half, we actually move up and we come back. I don't know, but I do expect that we're going to grow. HBAR is looking very productive overall. We skipped the daily time frame. We're looking at the weekly time frame because looking at the RSI or the MACD here, we are bouncing off the zero. We're right at this area. We haven't bounced off the zero yet. Sorry, I misspoke. But we are looking to bounce off the zero. We've got some very bullish signals going on with that if and when that does happen. We do have lower lows in the histogram here. This histogram is actually a higher low than that histogram, right? This reading is a little bit lower than that. You can see it here. So lower lows there with higher lows in the price. It's hidden bullish divergence. We have lower lows in the RSI with higher lows in the price, hidden bullish divergence, and the stochastics don't have lower lows, but they are at an area to bounce. We do sometimes bounce right here at the 50. And this is okay. Bouncing here is okay. I don't have a problem bouncing in the 50. I just have a problem with, like, if we're near the oversold zone, but we're not quite there, I would think we go down. That'd be my expectation. And we still have a little bit of time left in this week, too. None of these indicators are permanent. Let's wait and see how the week closes before we get too judgy with them. But I think we're obviously at a point to bounce rather than to go down. I mean, looking here, we're literally in line with this point of resistance, in line with that point of support back there. It would make sense that we hold this area, and that if we go lower, it's going to be very insignificant amounts at all. When we move higher, however, we've got a lot of significant price action to talk about. When we do move higher, the minimum expectation, at a bare minimum, the minimum expectation by the end of the year is that we're at like $1.21. Maximum expectation might be something closer to $2, though I don't think we get above $2. And I believe targets that are above $2 and $3, those will probably be reserved for next year, going into like the early parts of 2026. I could see us being at 315 as early as January, but I think $2 at the most, or probably even a little bit below $2, yet above $1.20 by the end of this year. That's the expectation for HBAR. We're going to see a move much like what we saw here. We're going to continue, right? We had this long accumulative phase here. You broke out, and now you're finding support on the top areas of this phase, the bottom areas of this phase. When you break out, it's going to be a move that is very, very similar to what you saw here. Fast, tenacious, just awesome crypto pump. It'll probably take you to about $2, if not just below there. That's my expectation. And then by the end of the cycle, we're looking at targets that are anything from about, I would say, $6 to $10, right? $6, yeah, $6 to $10 I think is a good target area for HBAR by the end of the cycle. But I've got nothing else for you guys. Thank you all for being here. I think we've gone over everything we need to go over. Hit the like button, subscribe, take care of yourselves, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.